Let me tell you about a story of the little Virgin Mary. She had a baby boy named Jesus, born in Bethlehem of Judea, in a stall that they called a manger. And she rocked the baby to sleep. Cow and horse and donkey and sheep saw the little baby boy sleep. Mary smiled but said not a thing, 'cause she knew that he was a king, king and savior of the whole world. And she rocked the baby to sleep. Grace and peace, everybody. This is Nabai Rebecca from the Glorious Life Coaching Ministries. And I am not showing my face today because I wanted to share some nativity facts. Many of us celebrate the day, December the 25th, as the Lord's birthday. And that is all fine and good. But the next time you celebrate, as you anticipate celebrating for this holiday season, I want you to be clear as to what you're celebrating and why you are celebrating. And also to make sure you make this fact known to your children so that you are not celebrating a lie. And you may be wondering, what am I talking about? Nativity is not a lie. The fact that Jesus was born for the remission of our sins is not a lie. The fact that the Virgin Mary had an immaculate birth, a miraculous birth to a boy without going through the proper channels on how children are being brought into the world, that's not a lie. But what is a lie is the day we celebrate it. And ignorance is bliss, so the Lord is not going to hold us accountable for what we do not know. But we do have a responsibility to the word that we hear. So if you're under the sound of my voice and you are hearing this information, probably for the first time, you are now responsible to the facts that you're being told. Now, let's start with the Christmas tree. Why do we put up the Christmas tree? Why do we celebrate the Christmas tree? Well, the reason for that is on December the 25th, there was a real holiday back in Rome, in the Roman Empire. And that holiday was called the celebration of the sun god, whose name is Sol Invictus. There would be a large tree installed in the square. And if you were wealthy enough to be able to have a tree in your home or made enough money to be able to get a tree and have it in your home and decorate it, it was adorned with all kinds of colorful ornaments representing the sun god, like sun ornaments and ornaments that represented the solar system. And this was why the tree was in place. And this festival was done every year on December the 25th. However, after the evangelizing of the saints, which is after Jesus died and was risen into heaven, and then the apostolic movement came about, where there were those who were evangelizing the 12 disciples going out into the whole world and spread the gospel. There was a big movement that came out of that where much of Rome was evangelized to Christianism. So, what the Roman emperor decided, instead of throwing away that whole festivity of celebrating the sun god, he then decided to turn the tree into something positive. He decided that the tree would now represent the celebration of Jesus. And instead of adorning it with all kinds of celestial ornaments or solar ornaments, they would now adorn the tree with apples to represent the tree of everlasting life. And that tree had to also be an evergreen to represent the same thing. So this was how the tree came about. And Roman Empire also decided that let us make it into one big celebration and also celebrate the birth of Christ during December, on December the 25th. But December the 25th was originally a pagan holiday to celebrate the sun god. So if that's not when Jesus was born, exactly when? All right. Now, two things that would be able to give us a clue as to when that would have been. One would be reading about the shepherds in St. Luke chapter 2, verses 8 through 9. The shepherds were tending to their flock when an angel appeared to them. Now, traditionally, shepherds would fleece their flock and tend to their flock and have them out grazing between the time of early spring to October because the winter months are way too cold for sheep to graze out in the open without any warmth or covering. So, because of that and another fact, a solar fact, Neptune and no, I'm sorry, Jupiter and Venus. You know, all the planets revolve around the sun, and twice a year, Jupiter and Venus would go around the sun, and they go on an axis where they meet each other in the same place at the same time. So that when we are looking at it on Earth, it looks like a huge giant star, a super big bright star. And the reason why it looks like a super big bright star is that those two planets are perfectly aligned when they're going around in axis and they meet in the same place. So this happens twice a year. It happens in June and October. So if the shepherds graze their flock between early spring and ending in October, and the stars are aligned, Jupiter and Venus, twice a year in June and in October, it is safe to assume that Jesus was born at some time in October because it was cold enough for them to try and take shelter, but it was not cold enough for a baby to be birthed and to be suckled in a barn because a barn is not a place where you can keep warm. So it was during a month where it was not too hot, not too cold, and it was not quite yet winter. So this was in October. Now it takes 12 days from the time that the wise men saw the star. It takes them 12 days to get to the place where the star would lead them to because it only stays aligned together as a big bright star for only 12 days. So they had to do the journey within 12 days so that the star could guide them exactly where they need to go. And so the shepherds and the wise men were all aligned in one place. And this, based on scientific research and some mathematics, it is determined that Jesus's birth was around the second week in October. Now, Based on these facts, we can, and you can do your research. Um, the Lord will always give confirmation. This is not an indictment against those who celebrate Christmas, because I hear the Lord say that He will honor the fact that we are honoring Him, but we need to be clear and we need to explain this stuff to our children that yes, we are celebrating during this season because the world recognizes it as this day. However, this is not the actual day. Let them know the meaning of Christmas, the meaning of the season. It's not about gifts, it's about the sanctity of this particular season. Let them know that the reason why we give gifts to each other is because the wise men came and brought gifts to Jesus on his birthday. And for Christmas, we are celebrating Jesus's birth. It happened a long time ago, so nobody knows the actual day. But the fact of the matter is, wise men came and brought him some expensive gifts as a token of their, not only their appreciation, but their worship and his sovereignty, identifying him as king and acknowledging him as king. The shepherds got that miraculous vision, and that was their first time encountering an angel. So they knew it had to be true. And so they also followed the star that kind of nestled over the manger so that the world can see it. And so, with that being said, I hope this has been helpful for you and gave you some closure on some things you've always wondered about. There is a reason for the season, and the reason is Jesus. Make sure in this season that we make it absolutely clear to the littlest of those that are among us the importance and the actuality of this day. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord let his countenance fall upon you and give you his peace. Like and subscribe to the Glorious Life on YouTube and TikTok. And be sure to check us out each and every time that we broadcast. You have a magnanimous day, everybody, and have a blessed holiday season.